Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. My name's Steve Cooper. You're watching In Deep on the Delta, and I'm actually just finishing up a day of fishing out here. I've been wanting to do a video on the FG knot, the fine grip knot. So give me a minute. I'll get back home, I'll set the camera up, and I'm going to show a very unique way of tying the FG knot. Believe me, you're really going to want to see this one. Okay, the FG knot, you either love it or you hate it. And if you hate it, it's generally due to one of two reasons. First reason, you think it's too hard to tie. The second reason, the knot's failed on you. Now generally, the second reason is because of the first reason. If it's too hard to tie and you can't tie it properly, the knot will fail. Back to the first reason, it's too hard to tie. I think a lot of folks that initially learn the knot from most YouTube videos find a guy out there that is taking a rod and putting the line in his mouth, trying to tell you how to tie the knot, following the rod down here, and tie it. What I'm trying to get at is they're using the rod to tension the line. They've got the line in their mouth. They're trying to tie the knot right in front of their face. It's hard to see. It's in an awkward position. It makes it very difficult to tie. So my first suggestion is, if you're new to tying this knot, remove the reel from the rod and practice at home before you put it in an actual fishing situation. So I've removed the reel. I've tied a loop in the end of my line. You're going to need a belt to tie this knot. So I loop the braid through my belt, and I'm going to take the reel and I'm going to simply drape it over a chair or whatever I have at home that I'm practicing on. Now what that does, it takes the line from out here in front of my face and holding the line in my mouth to down here on my belt. It's in a comfortable position to tie. I can see it, and everything is right here in front of me. Well, hopefully that's going to be your big takeaway from this video. Just attaching it to the belt and tying it where you can see it in front of you. So I'm going to set the camera up and I'll give you a close-up on how I tie it. You're going to find that the basic knot, there's nothing different. I still do a 24-turn FG knot. I do a couple half hitches at the end, and that's it. I'll also at the end of the video show you how I protect that knot with Loon UV knot sets. Alright, we're ready to tie the knot now. I've got my loop set up, got my reel here. I'm going to drape it over basically a chair over here, and I'm going to take that loop, I'm wrapping it around my belt here. So what that's done for us is we've got the braid running to the rod this way. We have the braid tied to my belt back this way, and it's put the line right in my lap where it's comfortable to work on, and it's very easy to see. And that's the big trick that I can suggest for this particular knot. The way that I tie the FG knot is pretty much standard to the way they tie it on the internet, but I have one more trick that I'm going to show you what I use to protect the knot at the end of the knot. So let's tie this really quick. We're going to do a 24-turn FG knot, and I'm going to be gripping and opening my grip as I go. So it'll be, that's 2, 3, I lift and grip, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 turns. I kind of look at my knot and I compress it up. And again, I'm lifting, gripping, lifting, gripping. 14 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 with the 10 previous. That gives me 24 turns, and there I've got my knot, a nice tight knot ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grip the knot. I'm going to grab my reel to relieve the tension from the reel. I'm going to clip my my line that I had to my belt buckle, and now I'm going to take a half hitch. I'm actually going to do 2 half hitches in the line here. There's one, and I'm half hitching both the mono and the braid line, just 2 half hitches. And that's going to hold the line in the knot in place, so you can release your thumb and finger and it'll hold. Now, the next step is a very important step, and I feel a lot of people miss this step. And you have to remember, the knot is called a fine grip knot, and it's made so that the braid has to grip onto the mono. The pink braid must grip onto the mono, and this is where we are going to tighten the knot up and actually make sure we have it gripped in. And I'm using the dowel so I can put some pressure on it. Let's clear this out so we can. Sometimes you can actually see it compress, but anyhow, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put some pressure on this so that it's gripping in. Once that grips in and you've put pressure on it, it's not going anywhere. You're going to be ready to go out and fish with this knot. Now, to finish up the knot, we're obviously going to have to cut off the tag end here. Oops, sorry, hit my stand. We're going to trim off the knot nice and close, and we're going to put 3 more half hitches just around the braid itself. 1, 2, 3. The knot is done. When I tie, or when I pinch off the tag end, I don't pinch it off real close. There's really no sense in it. I leave it about 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute. But this doesn't hurt anything. It's going to go through your guides easily, so no reason really to pinch it or to cut it off really tight. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do with this knot is I'm going to coat it with stuff from Loon Outdoors. It's called UV Knot Sense, and it's kind of a pliable epoxy. It comes to us through the fly fishing world. They've been using it for years on their knots, and I really like what it does for the UV, for the the FG knot. And what I do is I just take a little drop, and I'm going to take it and rub it into the knot. Just kind of get it in there, and then I'll twist it around. Now, remember, this is UV Knot Sense, and ultraviolet light is what actually cures this knot. So I can either take this out in the sun for about 15 seconds, or I can use a UV light and hit it with UV light, and it's going to cure it for about 15 seconds. It's going to cure it in about 15 to 20 seconds. So we've got this cured, and it's pretty much done. And again, what I use this for is it coats the knot. It keeps it from ever coming undone. And unlike a Gorilla Glue or something like that gets really stiff, and it can actually tear up your thumb if you have it on the reel coming through, having this go across your thumb, raking your thumb while you're thumbing the reel. This is pliable. See, it's no problem there. So this is the final step. I would really suggest getting some of this stuff, and it'll improve all of your knots, just not the FG knot, but try it on other knots. Now I'm going to do one more thing here, and this is something that I do for bass fishing, especially for my worm fishing. And I'm going to take this knot, and I'm going to color it with a paint pen. This one happens to be white. I fish in the Delta where the water's a little dingy, so white shows up really, really nice. And that's my indicator. And as I said before, I use this on my worm fishing. So this gives me an indicator to tell me what that worm's doing when I'm getting bites. It's detecting a lot of things for me. If you watch the In Deep on the Delta worming video, I explain exactly how I use this to my advantage and how I use it to catch more fish. So with that, that's it. It's a great knot. It's strong, it's thin, it's a little tough to tie, but practice it a little bit and you shouldn't have a problem with it.